Hello, today we're going to discuss the assembly of the Echo Recirc toilet. First thing we're going to do is go over everything that's included in the kit, which is your foot pump, bezel ring, dust boot cover, 6 10 by 24 by 1.5 stainless machine screws, 1-inch wire reinforced tubing 16 inches long, 2 3/4 inch green flex hose 5 foot 2 inches long, a filter assembly with a 1-inch wire reinforced hose 32 inches long, the Recirc bowl, nozzle, a 3/4 MPT nylon nut, a 1/4 by 20 by 5/16 T-nut times 2, 1/4 by 20 by 1/2 inch machine screw, stainless steel, 1/4 inch flat washer, 4 tri-bowl rivets, 1 hinge, and 5 wire loom clamps. Next thing we're going to discuss is the tools required and recommended for the assembly of this toilet. First thing you're going to have is a drill and a 732 drill bit, hole saws and sizes 4.5, 6-inch carbide tip, 1 3/4, 1 1/8, then a Phillips head screwdriver, 5/16 nut driver, rivet gun, and highly recommended is a Propax expander with a 3/4 inch head. First thing you're going to do is find the pre-drill start on the front for your 4.5 inch hole saw. And then you'll see on the back side where you have the same hole start that you'll use for the 6-inch carbide tip hole saw. Now, very important, when you drill the front, which needs to be done first, is to only go through the first layer. Do not go through both sides when you're drilling. As I cut through, you can see where the blade went all the way through the front, but not through the back. Next step we're going to do is you're going to have a co-worker, friend, help hold the base, and we're going to drill from the underneath side with the 6-inch carbide tip. As you can see, after drilling through, we have this nice puck with a 6-inch hole on this side and a 4.5 on the top side. Next thing we're going to do is drill a hole in the base right through here for your foot pump and your tubing to go through. Now you want to orient it so that you have less stress on the tubing, so you want to have a little bit of an angle in this direction. To drill these holes, we're going to use a 1 3/4 inch hole saw. You want to be kind of close to this edge, but not all the way on it, so that the hosing is not coming out of the bottom. Once you have the first hole drilled, you're going to step over to the other side and basically go at a 90 degree angle. Well, that wouldn't be, yeah. About a 90 degree angle from your previous hole and repeat the same process. Once you have these two holes drilled, you're going to just take your hole saw and step it across to cut this section out. Once you have this drilled out, you can take a pocket knife, Dremel, whatever you have, and you're going to cut these remaining edges out of the way so you have a smooth surface. All right, now we're going to flip the base over, lay your recirc tank on it, and very important, make sure that the tank you have has this channel in the back of it. Otherwise, you will need to purchase a different tank. But what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole right here on the top of the base in the back with the 1 3/4 inch hole saw as well for your tubing to come through to go into your tank. So what you're going to want to do is take your hole saw and line it up to this edge on your tank. You're going to split the hole saw about halfway with that edge. Once you have it, you're going to move your tank completely out of the way and bring your hole saw to the center of this ridge. Now, next thing you're going to do is come over about halfway with your bit to where you cut about half the hole, half to 3/4 of your hole, and repeat twice. Now what you can do after you have those drilled is lay your tank back in place to make sure you have a good routing for your tubing to come up through. Once you've verified you have enough tubing hole, you will take and trim the remaining part out of the way. Next step is we're going to take our 3/4 flex hose and route it through the bottom of the base and come out the hole that we just drilled last. What you're going to want to do is take one hose first, route it through. You might have to fish a little with it. Sometimes it catches. What you can do is bend it just a little bit, put a little bit of a crank in it, and then fish it through. And it'll make curve past this edge. Now, you don't want to pull it all the way through. You have where it's sticking through. You're going to take your next hose and push right against it to use it as a guide. And sometimes you might have to bend it as well just to help it out a little bit on the curve. Once you have both hoses through, you're going to take and come from the other side with the help and pull them up to leave about 4 inches or so, 4 to 6 inches hanging out. That way you have room to work with. That's good, Tony. Next thing you're going to do is take your foot pump with the dust boot cover, fish it, stick it through from the back side, to use as to coordinate where you're going to drill your foot pump is going to sit. Once you have it sitting where you want it, you're going to take a 9/64 drill bit and drill the bottom hole just as a mark. Now once you have your 732, you'll re-drill it, and then you can take your foot pump with the dust cover, bezel ring, and the 6 10x24 by 1.5 inch bolts and start your assembly process of the foot pump. Now that you have the one hole drilled, you're going to take your bezel ring, put over your dust cap, and take the 10x24 stainless steel bolt and put in that hole. You're going to tighten that one all the way up, which will allow the foot pump and the lock ring not to move, which will allow you to drill the other 5 holes. When you do it, once you go through, don't keep drilling, otherwise you'll drill into your foot pump. What I try to do is do one opposite just to make sure everything lines perfectly. And once you have 2 of them lined completely up, you can drill the remaining 4 without having to worry about the ring moving on you. Now that we have the foot pump in place, we're going to take your hose clamp and the Propex expander and open the pipe just a little bit. Once it's open, we're going to slide it over your foot pump fitting. Yeah. Sometimes you might actually have to hit it once, more than once. Actually, it's because I'm getting too much pressure. Normally what I do is I put the hose on and push it Once you have your hose pressed down, you're going to run your clamp in to tighten it up. And do the same thing for the other side. Once you have that one on, tighten the clamp up as well. Now that you have the foot pump hooked to your supply and return lines, you're going to cycle your foot pump to find out which hose is your intake and which hose is your return. Marking your return with an arrow pointing towards the base and the intake with an arrow pointing towards the tank. You want to make multiple marks just so that you can see it as you're getting to the tank, and so you don't have to reverse your tubing. Now that we have both your hoses routed, connected to foot pump, and marked directional orientation, we're going to drill 2 holes back of your tank. One for your inlet and one for your return. On the inlet side, you're going to want to be as close to this edge in the center as possible. You're going to use a 1 1/8 hole saw for this. Once you have that one, you're going to reverse to the opposite side and do the same process, but you're going to go down about the depth of, you're going to go right below what your supply would have been. All right, now that you have both holes drilled, you're going to take your outlet hose, stick it through, and your inlet hose, stick it through. The inlet hose will feed from the filter. The outlet hose will feed from the pump to the seat bolt. Now that we have the hoses routed through the tank, we're going to connect our hose filter assembly to your inlet tube. And all you have to do is just slide your gray tubing, wire reinforced, over your green flex hose and tighten it down with the hose clamp. Once you have that one done, you'll do the exact same with your 16-inch hose for your outlet tubing. You just slide it over, then tighten your clamp down. Slide right over. Slide right over. If needed, you can take a little bit of soapy water to lubricate the hose if they don't want to slide over. Now that you have your hoses and filter connected, you're going to put your recirc bowl hinge on your tank. When you do it, you want to open your hinge to where you can see both of the toilet seat bolts through the openings, and that the back of the hinge open touches this back of the tank on this ridge. Once you have that done, you're going to drill one of your holes that are with a 3/16 drill bit, and take one of your tri-bulb rivets and place it inside. Once you have that, you want to go ahead and drill the rest of your holes with a 3/16. Once all remaining 3 holes have been drilled, you'll take your tri-bulb rivets, place in those, and use your rivet gun to pull them tight. Now that you have the hinge in place, you're going to take your T-nuts, slide through, close your hinge to where everything's in place. Take your recirc bowl, lay over the hinge, press down, take your toilet seat, lay on top of your bowl, using the seat bolt holes to line up to your T-nut. You'll take the 1/4 by 20 by half bolt and a flat washer and line it up into the T-nut. Tighten it down, repeat to the same side for the other side. Once both sides are done, close your levers, and then your seat is one piece, and the bowl and seat become one piece. Now that we have the seat, recirc bowl, everything hooked up, we're going to put our nozzle in and connect it to the line from your foot pump. When you do, you want to make sure your arrow is pointing down to the bowl. Slide it through. Hold it in place, and then you're going to take your nylon nut and tighten it down. Once you have that done, you're going to take your hose clamp and your wire reinforced hose, slide it over the clamp, the tubing, the hose nozzle. Now that you have the nozzle in place, you're going to take your wire reinforced hose and your clamp, slide it over the nozzle, and then tighten your clamp down. Once you have done this, all the steps are completed to your assembly for your recirc toilet.